Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another Logan Blackman Show YouTube video. This one, of course, will be previewing the 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup. And I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen, my confidence going into this tournament is a lot lower than what it would have been in the past couple tournaments. Like, you can look at 2021 or 2023 and go like, well, Logan, those two tournaments, they had weaker squads as well. But leading into this tournament, the performances haven't really been there. There's no real, like, big lead up to the tournament. We're going like, okay, we're looking good. We won Nations Leagues. We had good runs of performances. We knew what the idea going into the tournament was. This tournament, it's like, man, we had our shit show at the Nations League. We've had a bunch of players withdraw due to injuries, which again, I understand. It's still frustrating, but I understand players aren't robots. I get all of that. And looking at this squad, given what the preliminary 60-man squad looked like, it is kind of a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie. The official squad just dropped today, so I'm glad I didn't record this video in advance, because I would have been kind of misconstrued around what the squad actually looked like going into this tournament. Starting with the goalkeepers, Zach Steffen had to withdraw due to an injury, so we have Matt Turner, Chris Brady from the Chicago Fire, and Matt Freese from NYCFC. One would expect that Matt Turner is going to be the main number one going into this tournament, and it kind of is. It's a weird feeling, because Matt Turner's spot as the number one for the United States men's national team has never been under more scrutiny, under more question, and Zach Steffen is finally back to a spot where he can compete for that number one spot. But every single time in the Pochettino era where he's had a chance to supplant Matt Turner or potentially supplant Matt Turner, he got sick in the Nations League third place game against Canada, and this one he's got a knee injury which he suffered in training. I'm not blaming him for anything. I'm not sitting here going like, man, you had an opportunity, you freaking wasted it. I'm not saying that at all. It's just unfortunate that these things take place like this, but those are the three goalkeepers going in. And for the defense, the big loss here, the big loss here is that there's no Serginho Dest. He was in the squad going into these June friendlies, which again, they play Turkey and Switzerland next week, so make sure to stay tuned for those games. I'm not going to do previews for those games, but make sure you stay tuned and watch those games. We'll cover every single game in the Gold Cup, but for those games, just watch your TV, enjoy them, do all that great stuff. So seeing Serginho Dest not on the final squad was not something I really expected. Am I surprised? No, not really. Again, he's coming off a major knee injury. He had a few games at the back of the season for PSV, but I'm not too surprised that they came together and ultimately said, yeah, you're probably not fit enough to play in this tournament. So like next to Dest, we don't have Antti Robinson in the squad. We don't have Christian Pulisic in the squad. We don't have Timothy Weah, Weston McKennie, Giovanni Reyna, Josh Sargent, Ricardo Pepi, Folarin Balogun, and Zach Steffen. Those are some key players going into this tournament. Balogun withdrew last week. They had to replace him with Paxton Aronson, which Paxton Aronson is not in this squad as well. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. But it's just like, man, you have this idea in your head of what this tournament's going to be, and you had like past examples of this tournament, like, oh, it's used as like a jump up, like we get the MLS players in there and they get some experience in there, and then we integrate them into the A-team squad. But when you, again, have that preliminary squad of the 60-man squad, and you go like players like Pulisic in the squad, Balogun's back, Dest, like you have these big name players back, and then now that none of them are here, it is kind of disheartening. We understand like Weah, McKennie, Reyna with the Club World Cup and stuff like that. It's an interesting time. Sucks, but we have to continue moving forward. But the other defenders in the squad, we got Max Arfston still there. Got Alex Freeman. You also got Nathan Harriel in there, who's originally in line to place either one of Zawadzki from the Columbus Crew or DeJuan Jones. Like those types of players. He can play right back and center back, so he's one of the players that could be one of those versatile options in there as well, with the more attacking option like Freeman and like Arfston that we brought up before. And you also got Mark McKenzie. You've got Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Miles Robinson, John Tolkien, and Walker Zimmerman is back in the squad. So again, John Tolkien's now been put in the squad. So this again feels like we're going to be seeing a back five. I don't really know, especially when you go further forward and see the lack of wingers. That makes me feel like this is going to be more of a back five tournament, especially when you look at some of these center backs who have a lot of experience playing in a back three, namely Robinson, Richards, and McKenzie at club level. We'll have to wait and see on that. But moving into the midfield, I brought up Paxton Aronson, who was put in the squad for the Turkey Switzerland games. He's not in the Gold Cup squad. Brennan Aronson's still in the squad, though, as well as Tyler Adams, Sebastian Berhalter, Johnny Cardoso, who is sealing up a move to Atletico Madrid. At least that's what I saw today from Fabrizio Romano on social media. And you got Luca De La Torre Traore's still there, Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, Quinn Sullivan, and Malik Tillman. I'm really excited to see what Malik Tillman does in this tournament, along with Diego Luna, who is somebody that Mauricio Pochettino keeps putting a lot of praise on, and he's one of the guys that I think a lot of people are excited to see going forward. And Malik Tillman being back in and around the squad as well, had a great end of the season for PSV. Let's see if he carries that into the Gold Cup. But moving into the forward options, Brian White's there, Patrick Ajimang's there. You also got Haji Wright, Damian Downs, and Paxton. Oh, I miss. I guess that's my bad. That's my bad. I guess I didn't even see him in the forward lines. This is the first time I've read the squad. I know the players that they've said are not going to be in there. I knew Balogun already wasn't in the squad. I did. Hey, my apologies. Usually you'd see Brendan and Paxton flip. Paxton plays in a midfield 2 deeper role a little bit. So, I don't know. That's my bad. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time I've seen the squad. This is the first time I've seen it. So, yeah. Not filled with the most confidence, though, all around going into this tournament. I'm not saying, like, I wouldn't say that I was guaranteed to say the United States was going to win this tournament prior to the squad getting announced, but my chances of saying that were a little bit more than what they are right now, if that makes any sense. But if we're looking at the Gold Cup as a whole, we got obviously Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D. The United States is in Group D, along with the likes of Trinidad and Tobago, which a lot of people love bringing up the game from 2017. That was a long time ago, but that game obviously reigns supreme in the minds of every single United States men's national team fan out there. You also got Saudi Arabia, Gold Cup regulars, Saudi Arabia in this tournament as well. And you've got Haiti, who did give the United States some problems in the 2021 Gold Cup. So this is what I'm talking about. The squad is not what we really thought it was going to be. We're not really seeing a lot of performances that say, oh yes, they're going to carry momentum from that time to this time. You got a new inexperienced manager in Pochettino, given the circumstances. All three of these teams could give the United States problems. Trinidad and Tobago in 2017, Haiti in 2021. Obviously don't have a long-standing history with Saudi Arabia, but Hervé Renard, who was the guy I thought and wanted the United States to go out and hire after he left the France women's team after the Olympics, he's back with Saudi. Remember, he was the manager for them in the 2022 World Cup, got a win over Argentina in the group stage, who ended up winning the freaking tournament. So this is a tough group. This is a very, very tough group for the United States, and I hope they're able to navigate it. But there are some, skeptical people out there. Like, if you scroll down the tweet of the United States squad announcement, there's people down there going like, oh, they're going to get grouped again. Because remember, we saw in the Copa America, got grouped. So there's not the momentum's not really on the United States side going into this tournament. Again, Copa America get grouped, Nations League come fourth, and now we're in the next tournament, and it's a tournament where the United States and Mexico are supposed to meet in the final. Let's see if that actually takes place. Mexico are obviously in Group A, along with Suriname, Costa Rica, and the Dominican Republic. And Mexico, realistically, should have no problems in this tournament. I have no problems navigating their way through the group stage. There was a stretch where the Mexico national team was in a really, really rough spot. You saw players like Memo Ochoa and Irving Lozano get excommunicated from the squad altogether, and now they are back in the squad. So that's a big boost for Mexico going into this tournament, especially with how Irving Lozano has been playing for San Diego FC so far this season. But you also got Raul Jimenez from Fulham. You got Santi Jimenez in there as well, as now over at AC Milan from Feyenoord. And the captain, presumably, I don't know if they're going to give the captaincy back to Ochoa or if it's going to stay with Edson Alvarez, but he's also in the squad. This is a very experienced Mexican squad that one should suspect at this point in time to be the heavy favorites going into this tournament. And looking at the other three teams in this group, we brought up Suriname, Dominican Republic, and Costa Rica. I'm going to have Suriname finishing second in this group. Now, this is a very inexperienced squad. In regards to, like, how many caps for the national team this one has, no player on the Suriname squad has more than 30 caps. Like, there's a lot of Dutch dual nationals in this squad. Vilcher's the all-time leading, or the guy with the most caps for Suriname, and the most caps he has is 28. But he is the country's all-time leading scorer. He has 15 goals for the national team. You also got Kenneth Paul, who plays left back over in England for QPR. He's second on the teams in assists this year, and big chances created with 6. And he also leads the team in interceptions per 90. So this is a very important player for this national team as well. And I do think that with this influx of dual nats from the Netherlands, I think Suriname can do enough to come in second in this group. In third place, I'm going to have Costa Rica. We talk about players coming back to the national team. Keylor Navas is back in the squad. He's playing over in Argentina at club level, but he's done the whole great. He's one of the, like, if we're talking about, like, in the recent gen, for CONCACAF. He's got to be the best goalkeeper in CONCACAF. Yes, I'm even including like Tim Howard in there. Like we saw him win a Champions League for Real Madrid. We saw him stand on his head for Costa Rica in the 2014 World Cup as well. He's played for PSG, so having that experience back as well. Obviously, he's not the same player that he was at that point in time, but having that experience in the squad is massive going into this tournament. And not only that, you got Miguel Herrera in as the head coach, and he's won this tournament before with Mexico. He won it back in 2015. So having the experience in net with Keylor Navas and having a manager who has won this tournament before, I think could bode well for Costa Rica. That being said, they are coming off a loss to Catalonia, so Catalonia's got some good players. I'm not going to sit here and act like they don't, but that's not really the great. They did beat, I believe it was Belize, 13-1 on aggregate to qualify for the Gold Cup, but this is a team that's going to have that experience of winning it, have a lot of experience in regards to the goalkeeper as well. But you also do have players like Warren Madrigal, who's a 20-year-old winger for Valencia, so he could be another player that could be fun to watch in this tournament, but I do have them ultimately coming in third. And in last, in fourth place, I'm going to have the Dominican Republic. They haven't lost since June 6th of last year. So, we are a whole year since they have lost a game. And that was against Jamaica, which they lost 1-0. And in that stretch, they've won 8 games and drawn 1. So, they are, in red-hot form at this point in time. And they have players like Junior Firpo. You have Mariano in there as well, which I don't know if he'll be in and around the squad, but he did wear the number 7 at Real Madrid, right? He was the guy who thought he could hold the mantle of replacing Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, it didn't really work out that well, but he could be one of the talisman going into this tournament. I don't know if he's officially in the squad or not. He's kind of bumbled around being involved in the national team and not being involved. But you do also have Donny Romero, who has 24 goals to his name at international level with I think only 39 caps or something like that. So he'll be an important player in this tournament. And though the Dominican Republic are on this little win streak, I just think the likes of Suriname and Costa Rica have the talent in place to see them over the line in regards to the Gold Cup. So they'll come in last. So that is Mexico, Suriname, Costa Rica, and the Dominican Republic coming in last. In Group B, we have the likes of Canada, we have Curacao, Honduras, and El Salvador. And coming out on top, there should be really no surprise here. I'm going to have Canada coming out on top. No Alphonso Davies, tore his ACL in the third, fourth place game in the Nations League. We've talked about some players that could potentially miss out to the Club World Cup, like Stefan Eustachio is going to be one of them. And you also got players like Tejan Buchanan, Jonathan David, Kyle Larin, and Moises Bombito. You've got really solid players there. Canada obviously is a very fast and athletic team that can cause a lot of people problems. There's some question marks around whether Jonathan David will be in and around this tournament. We'll have to wait and see on that. But in this tournament, one of the best forwards in CONCACAF. I think he's available on a free this year for Lille. He's coming off a great season with them. Well, it'll be intriguing to see where he goes. But despite no Alphonso Davies, I do still think Canada has enough to top this group. And in second place, I'm going to have Curacao, which might be a little controversial with Honduras being in there. Honduras is one of the most consistent figures in CONCACAF. They have played in World Cups before, but Curacao, I have that feeling they pulled out of the tournament due to COVID in 2021. They didn't have a great showing in 2023, so I think coming back, I think they're going to be really motivated. I think they'll have enough to come in second. You got the Bacuna brothers in there. You also got Rengelo Jenga in there, who's the country's all-time leading scorer. Coco Martino's an experienced player in there. You brought in Dick Advocaat to come in and be the manager, who has some international experience with the Dutch national team. He's obviously managed at club level as well. He's done a lot. He's done a lot at both club and national team level, so this is a good experienced manager to bring in. Never managed in the Gold Cup, but I don't think there's for someone who's managed the Dutch national team in the World Cup and the Euros, I don't think the Gold Cup will be that hard for him to fully grasp, but maybe I'm wrong. But I do have Curacao finishing second in this group. On Honduras, have them coming in third. And you've got some good MLS players in the squad. You got Andy Naharu, who plays for Nashville SC in MLS. You've got Dybie Flores, who plays for Toronto FC. You've got some very experienced MLS guys who are having good starts to this season. For Nahari, he has 1 goal and 4 assists to his name this year. He's second on the team in assists and third on the team in goals and GA. He's also second in successful dribbles and third in big chances created. So that's a very dangerous player coming down that right side. And as for Flores for Toronto FC, 1 goal, 2 assists to his name, and leads Toronto in a lot of different categories this season. You're looking at shots per 90, you're looking at accurate passes per 90, third in successful dribbles per 90, leads the team in clearances, leads the team in blocks, leads the team in fouls, fouls, though, per 90, so that's not really, the most ideal, but he's a do-everything kind of player that I think will be key for Honduras in this tournament. You also got players like Luis Palma in there, scored 2 goals against Mexico a little bit back in the day, like a few months ago. You also got Ramel Kyoto in there as well, 16 goals to his name at international level with 69 caps. Like, this is a team that could cause some problems, and I could go either way with them and Curacao for second place, but I do think having players like Dick Avocado, and you look at the top 10 appearance makers for Curacao, 9 of them are in this current squad and have been there. A lot of these players were the part of that team in, I believe, 2019 that made some big noise in the Gold Cup. So I do think that they have enough to get over the line in this, even though I would imagine that Honduras are the favorites to advance out of, if we're just talking about those two. And the final team in here is El Salvador. You look at their past 2 games, they played Pachuca and the Houston Dynamo. They lost to the Houston Dynamo. They drew to Pachuca. So that's not really the greatest stepping stones going into the tournament. Maybe it is. Maybe they needed to lose to a club level team and then they're going to advance further, use that as motivation going into the Gold Cup. But I just have a hard time envisioning finishing above either Curacao or Honduras. They do have a lot of experience. You look at their back line. They play a back 3 or a back 5. They have a lot of experience back there. Darwin Sarin as well in midfield, 99 caps to his name. Their most cap player of all time and their captain. So they have experience in this squad, but I am just going to have them finishing in last place. So it's going to be Canada, Curacao, Honduras, and El Salvador coming in last place. In Group C, I could be wrong, but this one seems to be coming down between Panama and Jamaica. I do have Panama coming out on top. I think Jamaica have more talented players per squad. You look at Leon Bailey. I know Mikel Antonio probably won't be involved in this tournament, but Damari Gray, Bobby De Cordova-Reed. You just have an Ethan Pinnock in the back, Damian Lowe, Andre Blake, one of the best goalkeepers in CONCACAF, if not the best goalkeeper in CONCACAF. They have a lot of very, very talented players. Shamar Nicholson's another one in there. But I think Panama are just really feeling themselves at this point in time. Just really look at what their performance was in the Copa America. You look at their performance against the United States in 2023, or their Gold Cup run in 2023. You look at what they did against the United States in the Nations League this past year. This is a team that is really feeling themselves and do have some confidence in there as well. They play a back 5. They're an impossible team to break down. They do have some star player like Carlos Kia is obviously a fantastic player for Panama. And I just think the fact that they're just on this absolute heater right now, I think they carry that into the tournament. Come in first, and I'm going to have Jamaica coming in second. We're going to have to see what the likes of some of their European players, what they do going into this tournament, because that seems to be a big talking point. They also brought in Steve McLaren to be the manager, which I didn't really see coming. And Steve McLaren obviously is famous for being the manager that couldn't get England to Euro 2006. That was the England golden generation, failed to qualify for that. It doesn't really fill me with the most confidence having Steve McLaren there, but is an experienced manager. A lot of these players are dual nats with England, so it might have some experience in there as well, but I do think Jamaica will come in second in this group. And third place, I'm going to have Guadalupe. They're on a little bit of a heater right now. They haven't lost in a while. They've won 4 straight games now. They haven't conceded a goal since October of last year. They've also gone 5 consecutive games without conceding a goal, and that's a team that caused a lot of noise in the past couple Gold Cups, or in the last Gold Cup at least. They scored the most goals in their group. They drew with Canada. Yes, they lost to Guatemala, who I have finishing below them in this group, to go to the knockout stage, but I think this is a very solid team that could shake things up if things go their way. Same thing for Guatemala, who I have coming in last, but they could be another team that could really shake things up. This is a very experienced, this is a Gold Cup. I don't know really how I want to say this. This is a team that has caused some problems in the Gold Cup in the past. They won their freaking group in 2023 when a group that had Canada in it. And you look at that tournament, they only allowed 2 goals in the group stage. They made it to the quarterfinals, ultimately lost the game, but that they're a good team. They've, I believe, made it to the semifinals before in the Gold Cup as well. And you got players like Darwin Lowe, Carlos Santis in there, both are co-leaders in the squad in goals with 12. Rubio Rubin, former Sporting Kansas City player, could be in the squad as well. He's got 10 or 11 goals to his name. You also got Jose Carlos Pinta in there as well as the captain, most experienced player in this squad. And again, I think there'll be an interesting battle between Guadalupe and Guatemala. I think Guadalupe finishing below Guatemala in the last Gold Cup could bring some motivation there. Maybe. I don't really know. Yeah, I am going to have Guadalupe third and Guatemala coming in last. And then in Group D, the United States groups we talked about before, the United States, Saudi Arabia, Trinidad and Tobago, and Haiti. I am going to have the United States still finishing on top, but I do think the likes of Haiti and Trinidad and Tobago and Saudi could all cause some serious problems for the United States in this tournament, especially when you look at the squad. But I do have them still coming on top. I do have Saudi finishing in second. I remember being kind of low on Qatar in 2022 or 2021, sorry, and they caused some problems. They made some noise in that tournament as well. So I think Saudi could do the same thing here, and they do have some solid players in their squad as well. Like players like Salam Al-Daswari, like on the left wing, their most creative player, their most electrifying player. You have some electric and young wing backs in there as well. And Harvey Renard is a very experienced international manager who has won trophies with Togo. Is insane. I know that was a while ago, but he still got that in there. So I'm a little nervous for Saudi, but I'm going to have Haiti finishing third in this group. Like they haven't lost or drawn a game since October 15th of 2023. We're not in time in 2024. They haven't lost or drawn since that point in their season. It's not really a season, international, but whatever. They haven't lost or drawn since then. And obviously, like we talked about before, they gave the U.S. fits in 2021. U.S. beat them 1-0. I think most people are expecting like a 3-0 performance there, but players like Duckins Nazan, you also got Fafa Picault, who's a former U.S. international, plays down for Inter Miami. He could be a big problem this tournament as well. Franzi Perot will also be a big problem in regards to scoring goals for them, as well as Lucius Donditsen, who has 7 goals and 7 assists for OB over in Denmark or Norway, I can't remember, but he has 7 goals, 7 assists to his name at club. Those two, Picault and him, will be on the wings. Nazan and Perot will be in the middle at striker. So those guys will cause the United States and Saudi and Trinidad and Tobago some problems. And I do have the Trinidad and Tobago national team coming in last place in this group. And again, everybody's going to talk about 2017 every single time the United States plays them. I bring it up. You bring it up. Your mom brings it up. This analyst brings it up. Every single person talks about 2017. And that's fair. But it's crazy to think about. That was 8 years ago. That is so weird to think about, like 7.5 years ago, whatever. But still, they brought in Dwight York to be the manager. Country's greatest ever player by a country mile. One of Manchester United's greatest ever players as well. Won the treble in 99. Like, this is a dude. This is a certified dude. But his experience as a manager is not really there. Like, we've talked about some newer managers that are coming in, like Dick Advocaat or Steve McLaren, who are coming into new national teams. They have experience, though, with other squads. Dwight York not having that experience could be interesting to see. They do have some good players in there. Jovan Jones is obviously there. Kevin Molino, Rion Moore, Levi Garcia. Those are all very key players for them going into this tournament. They have caused some noise in the Gold Cup in the past. And Dante Gilbert, he could be an interesting player to watch. He plays over for Jean PSV over there, the lower level Eredivisie. Or the youth level Eredivisie. I can't remember, but he could be an interesting player to watch, that deep lying spot. But I do have Trinidad and Tobago coming in last, so it's the United States. I have Saudi finishing second, Haiti, and then followed by Trinidad and Tobago. And you look towards the knockout stage, it's very weird how they divide this up. So it'll be the winner of Group D plays the second place team in Group A, and vice versa. And the winner of Group B plays the second place team in Group C. So the knockout stage matchups I have are the United States versus Suriname, Mexico versus Saudi, Panama versus Curacao, and Canada versus Jamaica. And in those games, I am going to have the United States beating Suriname, though I could see a reality where Suriname catches the United States off guard. I do have the United States win. I wouldn't be surprised if you look at some of the other teams that we mentioned before with Suriname, like Costa Rica, causing some problems for the United States as well. But I do have the United States going through in this one. And then I'm going to have Mexico beating Saudi. I think Saudi could cause some problems. Again, some of the key players that they have are very creative, and Hervé Renard's a very good manager. But this is Mexico's tournament. So I'm going to have Mexico go through. I'm going to have Panama go through against Curacao. And I'm going to have Canada going through against Jamaica. I do think that could be a very, very interesting game. But I am going to have the Canadians going through to the next round. And then we talked about Group D playing Group A. And then this one, it's Quad 1 or Qualifier 1 versus Qualifier 4. So it just switches around again. And in Qualifier 1 is Qualifier 1, is the United States. And Qualifier 4 is Canada. I am going to have Canada beating the United States in this one. I just think some of the players that Canada can bring forward, and the fact that they just want to be, everybody like in CONCACAF wants to beat the United States. Like, they have this heart, this desire to beat the United States. It's not that the United States is this massive superpower in the world of soccer or anything, but the name United States, you just want to beat them. So they're going to play up to that game, and I'm intrigued to see how the players for the U.S. do with that. But I think some of the players, like if Jonathan David's there, I think that could cause a lot of problems for the United States, because I'm afraid of the goals for the U.S. That's my big problem, is where are the goals coming from? Do I fully trust Ajimang or Brian White? Maybe Damian Downs can do something, or Haji Wright. Where's Haji Wright going to play? Is he going to play on the wing? Is he going to play as a striker? We'll have to wait and see. But I do have Canada beating the United States, and I'm going to have Mexico beating Panama, and I'm going to have Mexico beating Canada in the championship to come away with yet another Gold Cup, winning like they did last year, or the last Gold Cup, I should say. And yeah, as disappointing as that is, I don't really see, at this point, I could be very wrong, and I'm open to being wrong, because I want to be wrong, but I have a very hard time seeing the United States winning this year's tournament. But that I could all be wrong. I could be proven wrong, and I would be more than happy to sit here and go, I was wrong about this. But as things stand right now, my confidence is not at the most high. Again, we brought up the Copa America, you bring up the Nations League. The last two performances at tournaments we've seen from the United States have not been great. I just need to see something here. I just need some passion, need some heart, need all that great stuff, and maybe the United States can compress through, but it's just hard for me to see that at this point in time. But yeah, that's all I've got for you today on this video. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description below, social media accounts, podcast, all that great stuff. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give your thoughts down below in the comment section about the United States, about the Gold Cup, about my predictions, how you would change yours or whatever. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, I sincerely apologize. Try to be better next time. And I will see you guys later. Peace.